Fire escape inspection summary video. This is Fire Escape Engineers. This will be a video one. I'll do another video from the bottom up. But basically I'm on the top floor, and what we have here is an all original hardware fire escape. By what I mean by that is all the connection points, whether major or minor, have original square head bolts, as I'm pointing out here. Now what this means is, and by the way, it hasn't seen paint for quite some time, so what this means is this fire escape hasn't seen the evidence of repairs for quite some time. The only repair that I've noticed so far, but it still was a long time ago, was this here. Unless they take this out and put it back in, we're using the same nut, because this is a square head bolt, so it's probably 30 years old, 25 years old, the least. So I've noticed throughout the railings on all the floors that these have been worked on, but it's still a question because this bolt and nut is so old that it would have to be replaced. So what I mean by that is this fire escape in the stage that it is would undergo a load test because all the original hardware. So unless you spot repair some of these points, which is the major points, I'll explain what those are in a second, then it'll be good to do a load test. But if you don't do that, I would not do a load test, because the problem of failing a load test, it would be actually pretty bad, because the condition that these bolts are and the age of they are. So another point I want to bring it up while I'm still here is that the support going into the wall. Every single support going into the wall, you have some spalling going on. So you see the gap in here, the hole in here, and also you'll see another hole in here and in here. So all the supports need to be repacked with cement. Now let's talk about what is a major connection to fire escape, because you have a lot of not so major connections, which, for example, the railings here, these are not the major. The majors are what this fire escape here, these bolts here, and what attaches here and there and so forth. Because what happens is, if I was to do a load test on this railing, I need to have an equivalent of 200 pounds either pushing it or pulling from underneath. So that's the equivalent of someone leaning on it, 200 pounds plus minus. So if these bolts are not replaced, we can guarantee it. We don't know the stage of these bolts, so they can easily break very, very easy because they're very old and they have a lot of rust accumulated. Another major connection is, if I start walking down, is where connect the staircase with a platform. We have 2 bolts here and 2 bolts here, also square head bolts. Now, if you look at this from underneath here, you see already a gap here in some of these, and that's because rust is growing in between this flat plate and in the landing. So this eventually starting to belly up. So these are the major. This is what connects the staircase with the platform here and below. Another thing too, that here's another major connection for the railing. Not so much the middle ones, but the bottom ones. Okay. Also, this tubing. That's a major point there. Again, if you were to lean on these outwards, you want to make sure it's going to hold you 200 pounds plus minus, and the only way it's going to hold it if we know these bolts and nuts are good and they are original right now. Another thing too I want to talk about while I'm still here is these are rivet fire escape treads. Now what I mean by that is these rivets right here, and let me point it out here. These rivets are the original hardware and also very, very old. But also you have a lot of rust building up on the top of the tread. Just timing. This is all weather and timing. So in order to guarantee these treads, and before you even put a load test on it, is replace these 2 rivets in each side with a brand new bolt and not typical 3/8 bolts. So there's some treads that with a lot more rust than other ones, maybe because of the weather, because of the sun, but basically you have rust growing in between treads. Okay, here's another typical major point for the railing. As you can see, you have 2. Now as I keep going down, again, the problem repeats from floor to floor. And as I mentioned before, those two connection point will attach the staircase to the top platform. These two here connect to the bottom platform. Now, as you can see, also again, original hardware, and both of these sides, both of the place, and also this is attached with a rivet. So this would have to replace. This would have to replace. Again, as I mentioned before, this looked like there was repair at one point, but they either use the same railing, I mean the same bolts, or the repair was done over 25 years ago. Again, problem after problem, it's actually the problem repeats from one to another. Now here you have the fireman's ladder, and basically all these runs are welded. So in order to verify these welds, is you actually do a 200 pounds plus minus load test on each run, every 2, every 3, and you want to make sure that these don't break. And this ladder is what the fireman uses to save people while people are egressing out of the building down to the staircase. Okay, this actually is the evidence of rust built up here, but also looks like over here this fire escape, or this railing at one point was kind of repaired, welded. Now, as a VPA of 2010, April 2010, there's no more welding on fire escapes for fire escapes that either have or is presumed to have lead. So no more welding on fire escapes. The same thing applies if you're going to scraping paint. You gotta apply the EPA new reg and rules. So as I go down, let me see if I can point out the actually support right here, and you can see there's a hole there, and it is happening on every single one, and that's just weather, so need to be repacked with cement. Another support or major connection point is this one right here. Let's see if I can point it out here. So I don't know if I can see it well, but basically is right here. There's a square head bolt which attaches this support into the support coming from the top, and that's also in original hardware. Hopefully you can see it. Okay, you can see it better now this way. Again, that is what's supporting this with this one. Now, without having to repeat myself over and over again, so basically what you see here, it's the same problem that goes all the way from the top to the bottom. Now, I'm gonna stop this video. I'm gonna make the second video using the cantilever and see what the cantilever, how the cantilever looks. Fire escape inspection summary video. This is video number 2. This is gonna be about the cantilever only. So basically what we have here, we have a cantilever that it dropped to the ground and it stayed to the ground. That's a good news. However, we have some issues going on with the cantilever already. One of them being this missing part, broken part already, as you saw here. That came from over here. This cantilever does not have a release arm. And a release arm, what it does is basically, once we bring the cantilever upwards, we're able to lock it right over here with a swing arm that allows it to keep the cantilever from dropping, or from people to grab the cantilever from underneath like we did in order to come up, and locks it into place. It doesn't have here, and that's up to the fire department or building department discretion. However, it's recommended to have a release arm right here. So let's talk about the cantilever now. The pivot point. The pivot point is basically what connects the cantilever with the fire escape. And as you can see here very well, it's connected along with this plate here and attached to this fire escape landing. Now, as you can see here, original hardware right here, and there's already rust building up here. So point that out, that would have to be replaced. Now look at this bolt here compared to the next one over here. This is original hardware, so this hasn't been touched for so long, but someone already replaced this one. Maybe, don't know how long it is, but you can see that this should have been replaced when this was replaced. How we didn't do it, that's whoever repaired. And the other thing I want to brought it up here, because this is a good shot right here, is this plate right here. And let me see what this is. Looks like it's the plate where was attaching this here. And basically what you have all this rust accumulating underneath, and it's bellying up and it's pushing this plate upwards because the rust is growing underneath here, as I'm pointing it out. And the other points I want to talk about is the railing connection to the cantilever. Again, original hardware here. And as I go down, that's what the cantilever looks like. For any questions, Fire Escape Engineers, 1-800-649-3333, 1-800-649-3333. Inspector CJ Morris.